And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to tonight's Colorado High School Athletic Association first round playoff game. We're here at Aurora Public Schools District Stadium for the Regis Jesuit Raiders and the Gateway Olympians. I am joined by our producer, Joe Quigley, cameraman, Colin Stover. I'm Jake Leonard, and tonight I will be here with our color man, Steven Snyder. Steven, this is what it all comes down to. We're expecting an amazing game tonight, both teams playing for their life.
And Jake, really interesting, the Raiders getting such a high seed. The Raiders are 4-5. I know Gateway is 7-2. The Raiders getting a number 20 seed out of the 32 teams in this CHSAA playoff. So really interesting. I think that has to do with strength of schedule, Jake. And you see that a lot in college football too. If you have a strong schedule and you lose a couple more games, that's okay. It looks like it is going to be a dead even game tonight, Jake.
Steven, what you say is exactly true. Regis has played an incredibly difficult schedule, playing Chaparral, Thunder Ridge, Horizon, Cherokee Trail, Mullen, and I'm trying to think, I feel like there was another ranked team. But an incredibly difficult schedule that has really helped the Raiders get a good seed. And you look at how the season went, this is a very favorable bracket that the Raiders could have been in. I believe if Regis was one seed off, we would have been playing Mullen first round.
That is correct. If we were actually one seed higher, if we were the 19th seed, we'd play the 14 Mustangs. This is actually the 20th seed Regis Jesuit Raiders versus the 13 Gateway Olympians. And with about 5 minutes to kick off, Jake, what are your keys to the game for both teams?
Steven, I think Gateway is an incredibly athletic team, so it'll be up to the Raider defense to stop their sort of option flux offense that Coach Nolan described to me earlier in the game is very similar to the Air Force Falcon offense. This team's incredibly athletic, and Regis needs to be more disciplined tonight, stay on their assignments in order to have a chance.
And Jake, that is one thing I'm actually not concerned about. Raiders, as the season progressed, have gotten much more disciplined. With the coin toss, we'll see what the result of that is. And it's amazing how little the coin toss has become an impact in football. It used to be huge, but now with teams beginning to learn that they want to defer and no win tonight, really, this coin toss, as important as it might seem, really isn't important. I think if I'm the Raiders, Jake, I almost want the ball in the second half because they are a faster second half team.
And, Steven, you bring up a good point. It really depends on what sort of a team you have. If you have an explosive team and you feel that you can score early, then by all means you want the ball. But if you're a defensive team, perhaps a Big Ten-style offense like the Raiders, you want to defer and try to get a lead so you get the ball first thing in the second half, burn some time.
And actually, Raiders are going to get the ball first half here, Jake. So we'll see if they can maybe get something going. I think if you're the Raiders, the key is to take this ball in the first half and just score and do really well in the first half. Raiders need to start fast because we know they are a team that can finish. They have that it factor, Jake. So it's really exciting. I think my keys to the game for the Raiders are to incorporate the Williams brothers. Jalen is back to run alongside Trevor. And then the D-line, I've been saying it all year, Jake, and I'll say it again, the D-line has to come up big with quarterback pressure and run stopping. Eddie Gonzalez and Antonio Broadus need to carry this defense, along with some strong play. You know who I'm surprised with, actually, surprise player for the season for me, Jake, is Will Dines in that safety position. He has been great in coverage and great on tackles, and I think if he plays well tonight, he gives the Raiders a great chance.
We're going to take a break for our national anthem. And Steve, an interesting thing about tonight that sets up possibly a good opportunity for the Raiders next week. If Regis wins tonight, most likely they will host the Valor Christian Eagles next week at Lou Kellogg Stadium. We're all hoping for that. That would be an incredible renewal of a great rivalry over the past few recent years.
And Jake, that would be absolutely fantastic. And it'd be interesting to see. I believe Raiders are getting some more injured players back. So for next week's games if we win. So we'll see here what the Raiders can do. Back to that Will Dines point. Would you say he does play a big part in this Raiders coverage defense tonight and helping them win?
Absolutely, Steven. I think Will Dines is one of the most important members that the Raiders have all around, not only for what he does on defense, but for his role in the long snapping game. He is the team's long snapper, so it will be up for him to give Sebastian Harris good snaps.
Indeed, Jake, and it'll be interesting here. Jake, are you seeing anything? Hold on, let me think. I think, well, Jake, are you seeing any surprises, or are you thinking the Raiders might change anything up for tonight? Oh, excuse me. So, Jake, do you think anything might come up for the Raiders tonight that they might try to pull out of a hat, change anything up?
You know, Steven, the way that the Raiders played last week against Highlands Ranch really made me show that this team is getting in its groove. I don't think you want to change up what led to a lot of success last weekend against the Falcons in a 35-0 shutout win at home. Great defense, great offense all around. We'll really be looking for solid quarterback play. And, Steven, every game, no excuse this time. I saw Zach Heath taking some pregame passes, so who knows?
And, Jake, interesting point there, how you say they don't want to change anything from last week, which is not the way they had been playing all season. So if you're the Raiders, I think you want to keep playing differently, and I agree with that. Any other keys for Gateway, Jake?
Well, Steven, I think we can all agree that if Gateway gets in a foot race with the Raiders, it'll be all over. This team is faster than Regis. It'll be up for the Raiders to contain that. The opening kickoff is going to bounce into the end zone for a touchback, and we'll see who leads the Raiders out on the field. It will be Matt Hotelling. Matt Hotelling will start this first drive of the evening at the 20-yard line.
Indeed. I think, Jake, if you're the Raiders, you want to come out and you want to run the first two plays, if not the first three. Raiders need to establish a run game because that is what their pass game is based off.
So Regis's first formation will be an I formation. Hotelling with two backs. A.J. Shaw moving, and Hotelling's going to fake the handoff. He's going to throw over to the right to a wide open Robert Orban across the 50-yard line. And that is a gain of 31 yards. Matt Hotelling to Orban for 31.
And, Jake, you heard me there where I was anticipating a run. I think Gateway was doing the same thing. Great play calling by Coach Nolan. And if they keep running an offense like that and keep Gateway on their toes, they're going to have a big night.
Very surprising, Steven, to see the Raiders call for a pass. And now here's a handoff to Trevor Williams, who fights for 2 yards. But I like that play call to really catch Gateway off guard because everyone has heard the Raiders are such a running-dominated ground game.
Indeed, Jake. I think if you're the Raiders here, that pass worked the first time, but I still think you run it maybe on a pitch or a counter to the far side with Trevor just because you need to establish the run.
Shaw moving to the left. Hotelling's going to hand it off to Trevor Williams again, who gets tripped up at the line. He got slowed down, Steven. He'll get 3 yards to set up a 3rd and 5.
Jake, it'll be interesting to see the play call here, especially that Matt Hotelling has that early confidence from that first pass. The pass looked good. It was on target. So I think if you're the Raiders here, you can feel comfortable putting trips on the left side and running Eagle, Jake. For all of our viewers, you know what Eagle is. Matt Hotelling rose up and throws either a cutback or a go route to either Robert Orban or Elliot DeJour or John Schmidt. I would feel safe with that play call.
3rd down and 5 from the 43. John Schmidt in motion. It's going to be a fake handoff to Schmidt, and they'll run it up the middle with Trevor Williams, who will get 3 yards. 4th down and 2, Steven, so Very close now for the Raiders. I think that they're going to plan to go for it here.
I definitely think so, Jake. It's kind of that awkward middle zone where it's not really so. It's that awkward middle zone where you can't really kick a field goal, but a punt just seems silly. So I think we'd see a pass here.
4th and 2 from the 40, 10:15 to go in the first quarter. A.J. Shaw moving around. Hotaling will hand it off to Jalen Williams, who gets met in the backfield. That is number 50 on the tackle, Zach Boldich, who stuffs the Raiders' offense on 4th down. Gateway gets the ball.
And, Jake, I really think you need to pass there because you saw the Gateway team have 8 in the box and rush all 8 of them. If you could have gotten a quick out pass, you would have almost had a touchdown. So really disappointing there. We'll see if the Raiders defense can come back and rebound for them.
Number 9, Tate Johnson, quarterback.
So the starting quarterback for the Olympians tonight will be the senior Tate Johnson. They line up with 2 backs in the backfield, and Tate Johnson will run it to the right side. He'll get 3 yards, so it'll be 2nd and 7. But, Steven, we're going to see that a lot tonight with 2 running backs lining up kind of on either side, a couple yards back of Johnson, and it gives them a lot of options to run.
It does give them a lot of options. The only thing that could be bad about that, Jake, is the Raiders' pass rush really starts from the outside and collides to the middle. So if that middle gets clogged with Gateway with 3 men sitting there, it can be very dangerous.
We're now at 9:30 to go in the first quarter. Johnson lining up with 2 receivers on the right. Number 17 in motion. It's going to be a handoff. That is number 17.
LaShawn Jackson on the carry.
LaShawn Jackson on the carry. He trips, Steven, and he'll actually lose 3 yards, so it'll be 3rd down and 10.
And, Jake, at a level like this, you cannot make mistakes like that. You have to at least get back to the line because a loss of yards is a loss of momentum. And in a game with such emotional stakes, a loss of momentum can almost sink you.
Very interesting to see what the Olympians will do here on 3rd down and 10 from their own 32. Trips receivers to the left. Johnson is going to quick throw out to number 11. He will not get it. That was complete to Miguel Gonzalez. Gain of 4 yards, so it'll be 4th down and 6, Steven. A little bit of luck there aids the Raider defense on that first drive.
And, Jake, what I saw there mainly was that tackle by number 32 for the Raiders, Daniel Talley. Fundamental tackling. I stress it all the time, Jake. You need to get low and get in his knees, and that's exactly what Talley did.
Daniel Talley is a phenomenal athlete. I completely agree, Steven. And punting for the Olympians, it's a low line drive punt fielded by Alex Mitchell at the 28. He makes 2 men miss, a return of about 10 yards to the 38-yard line. A very low punt on that, Steven, and that gave Alex some time to run the ball before the Gateway punt coverage rushed upon him.
And, Jake, you can see the difference between low and high punts for Alex Mitchell because he likes to put his eyes downfield before he catches it. He is so successful on line drive punts, as we've seen him returning this season. So I really think if you're Gateway and you're punting, you need to get that up. I don't care if it's shorter. Minimize the return. Alex is a threat when it's line-driven.
So the Raiders will take over for this second possession on offense with 8:02 to go in the first quarter. Man in motion is John Schmidt. It'll be a handoff to John Schmidt on the left side, a play the Raiders go to so much, and he is forced out of bounds for a loss. Looks to be a loss of about 4 yards, Steven.
Really tough break there for the Raiders, Jake. That play is so lethal normally for them. So I really think that the Raiders here need to throw, Jake. I've said it a couple times. I haven't been on key with my mindset with Coach Nolan yet, but I think this is a throwing play, no doubt.
Hotaling will line up in an ace with a receiver on each side. He will fake the handoff and roll out to the left side, shooting down the field. He's got his man. And complete
to Alex Mitchell.
Alex Mitchell on the reception. He actually breaks a tackle and goes deep into Olympian territory. That's a pickup of 30 yards.
And, Jake, that was a great spin by Alex Mitchell. He cut back on the side and then spun back to the inside of the field. So, great heads-up play there by Alex Mitchell because normally on that play, the Raider receiver gives up and goes out of bounds. Great thinking by Alex Mitchell.
Those extra yards can be crucial, Stephen, especially as the Raiders try to march into field goal range towards the end zone. 1st and 10 from the 35. Handoff to Trevor Williams, met in the backfield. Defensive line, huge penetration on that. And honestly, Stephen, on these runs, Trevor has no chance.
He really doesn't, Jake. I think they need to get an outside run going. So we'll see what the Raiders do here with Trevor and Jalen the rest of the night. I think they just need to do pitches and outside runs. This Gateway defense is so strong up the middle. I don't think they can risk it if they keep running up the middle.
So Matt Hotelling will line up his offense with 3 receivers on the right side, and he's going to scramble out that side. He's going to look and hesitates for a second. That will cost him dearly. He is tackled. That'll be a short sack of about half a yard. But Stephen, on that, Matt looked like he hesitated a little, possibly had a man.
And Jake, actually, Matt Hotelling managing to scramble forward there to gain 2 yards. But what I've seen is that Gateway is weak on the outsides. Raiders need to exploit that immediately, Jake.
So now it's 3rd down and 10 from the 35, the original line that the Raiders started this first down series on. John Schmidt in motion. He's going to fake it off to Schmidt and hand it off to Trevor Williams. And Trevor Williams finally has his first big run of the night. That's 13 yards to the 22-yard line.
And Jake, fantastic play call there. Raiders cluttering up their backfield and not letting Gateway know where the ball is going. I wouldn't be surprised if later tonight you see that with a Hotelling keeper where he runs it back the other way towards us. So many options. I love the cluttered backfield look from the Raiders tonight.
1st down and 10 from the 22-yard line for the Raiders. We're now at 5:30 to go in the first quarter. Hotelling lines up under center. He's going to look left. He's going to throw a fade to the end zone, and it's caught by John Schmidt. Matt Hotelling, 22 yards, a beautifully thrown fade to number 4, John Schmidt, and the Raiders put the first points on the board of the night.
I never thought I would see the robot John Schmidt come in and work and the trust-passing John Schmidt have success, but there it is, Jake. He just threw that up there. He just looked and tossed, and great play there. Alex Mitchell and John Schmidt are going to be key tonight for the Raiders. They're so fast, and they've been progressing so well throughout the season.
Vince Saban on you. Kick tonight, and there's a whistle before the play. But, Stephen, for a second, I just want to talk about that pass. That was probably the best pass I've seen Matt throw all year, and I mean that because of the way he led John exactly to where he could catch the ball in stride. And let's give credit to the Olympian defensive back. That was decent coverage, but that ball was exactly where it needed to be.
And great body position, too, from John Schmidt there. He gave a fantastic little... He just got his body inside the defender, Jake, and most receivers at this level can't do that.
And the Raiders will now go for it, Steven. This is a little Chip Kelly-esque at Oregon. Oregon routinely goes for 2. The penalty moved it forward a yard and a half, so Shaw in motion now. Hotelling's going to hand it off to Trevor Williams, who spins his way into the end zone for the 2-point conversion. Let's remember this for later in the game. At 5:20 in the first quarter, Regis is up 8-0 over the Olympians. Stephen, what do you think of that decision?
I think it's a great decision. Anytime you are within 2 yards, Jake, you go for 2. If a penalty bumps it forward, you go for 2 because it's a goal line play, and that's where the Raiders thrive. So I think it's a great call for the Raiders. And, Jake, if it comes down to it in the end, if for some reason Rangeview or the Raiders kick a field goal, that's going to make a big point difference on the scoreboard, believe it or not. I know you saw that last week with the Chicago Bears. If they had gotten that 2-point conversion, they would have been tied against the Panthers. So that makes a huge difference.
And I hear all the way in the press box, Coach Bob McPhee inspiring his line, very pleased with the way they performed. Stephen, a really incredible start. I don't think either of us expected the offense to complete that beautiful of a pass, really. Again, Matt Hotelling to John Schmidt for 22 yards. Kicking off tonight for the Raiders will be number 87, Vince Saban, from the 40-yard line. And Vince's kick will be fielded. Miscommunication between 2 Gateway players. Bobbled, picked up at the 5. And as a result, the Raiders swarm the ball carrier. He'll get out to the 12-yard line.
Vince Saban put that right in between them, and you saw that Gateway player try to reach up. Jake, if you're that Gateway player, you let it go because that was so close to his end zone. That was actually back inside the 5 where he was reaching for it. You let that go because that's either going to go into the end zone for a touchback or out of bounds to bring it to the 35-yard line.
And that was Lamont Lynch on the return for Gateway. They'll start this drive at the 12-yard line, first down and 10. Quarterback Tate Johnson lining up in a hybrid set. A man in motion. Johnson will hand it off immediately up the middle, and he fumbles, and it's recovered by the Raiders. What an unbelievable play to set the Raiders up in the Gateway red zone. Steven, they will take the ball over on the 11-yard line.
Jake, if you are Gateway, you've got to be cautious because this Raider team does not start fast. They finish fast. So, Raiders, they're executing the keys to the game they need to. Their defensive line caused that fumble. They had a great running game, and they've added to it with the passing game. If you're the Raiders and you're playing like this right now, you score now, you almost can't lose if you keep this up.
Steven, I can't think of a bigger shift, really a complete gift. Unbelievably fortunate for the Raiders. And here they start on the 10-yard line, first down and goal. They'll shift 2 tight ends over to the right side now. Hotelling's going to pitch it out to Trevor Williams. Trevor's got some space. The hole closes quickly. He'll get maybe 2 yards to make it second and goal from the 8.
And, Jake, if you're the Raiders, I wouldn't be concerned. I think you've got 3 more run plays in you left. I think if you get down to the line, I know it was a gift. You could get some more points. But I think if you're the Raiders, you go for goal. You run it 3 times, you give it to Jalen and Trevor, and you let them do their thing.
It's second and goal from the 7-yard line. Hotelling's going to hand it off to Trevor Williams up the middle, and he'll take it inside the 5-yard line down to the 4-yard line, Steven. And the way Regis has been calling plays, I would not at all be surprised if this is 2-down territory, if the Raiders will go for it on 4th down if they don't convert here.
And that's exactly what I was saying, Jake. Let Trevor, the tow truck, pull linemen into the end zone with him. I'm getting really excited, Jake, because I've not seen the Raiders start this well in 2.5 years of play.
We've seen a lot of games, Steven. That's a big compliment. Now, Mark Nolan will take a timeout to think over this 3rd down and 4 play. Steven, I have to think that Regis is going to run it here in an attempt to, if they don't score a touchdown, at least get closer to the goal line for a 4th down attempt. But where they want to run that is really up to their discretion.
Don't put the pressure on Matt Hotelling with a throw, Jake. You can't get in his psyche here if he makes a bad pass or something. He has great psyche. Let him work the open field next drive. But if you're here, you run it twice. You give it to Jalen on this play, see if he can get it in. If that doesn't work, you bring in Trevor. You have Trevor put his head down. You have him punch it in.
Man, Steven, you hear it every day said by college, NFL, high school coaches. You want to win a lot of games, you take care of the football. An unbelievably crucial mistake by the Olympians to set up the Raiders with a 1st down and goal.
And this is not the start you wanted if you're the Olympians. So we'll see here. Wow, Jake. The Olympians coming into so much momentum, one of their best seasons in years. And now they're just throwing it away within 8 minutes.
This is Gateway's first playoff appearance in 5 years. And, Steven, they're coming off of 2 shutouts that they won by almost 70-0 each. And Trevor will run up the middle. Steven, he looks to be short, but they did gain 3 yards, so it'll be 4th down and goal from the 1-yard line. I think this Raider offense was designed to go for it here, Steven.
I think so, Jake, because, oh, Jake, I am torn because making it a 2-possession game this early, and they will go for it, Jake. I think you need an outside run if you're the Raiders. You can't run it up the middle against this team.
John Schmidt and Alex Mitchell line up on the left side, Hotelling in an I formation. Let's see what the offense does. Hotelling's going to hand it off to Trevor Williams. He's very close to the line. He will not get it. The Raiders do not convert in 1st and goal from the 10-yard line. Steven, it's easy to say it was a bad decision now, but what I think is that, especially because they got the 2-point conversion, they really essentially are kind of up. Maybe not 2 possessions, but 1.5 because there's no way they can blow a lead.
Indeed. I think if you're the Raiders, Jake, you bring 5 or 6 men here, and you try to get a safety and try to recollect that. You know Gateway's going to be running because passing here is too dangerous.
I completely agree, Steven. This is a great opportunity for the Raiders to try to get 2 points on defense. 3:20 to go. Gateway takes over on their own 1. It's going to be a fake inside handoff option to the right that Tate Johnson gets 2 yards on. 2nd down and 7, it looks like. So a 3-yard gain by Tate Johnson.
And, Jake, if you're Gateway, I think you have to pass here. You're too deep in your own zone to risk a long 3rd down.
2:53 to go. Johnson has 3 running backs behind him, and he's going to hand it up the middle. The ball carrier is tackled at about the 9-yard line, so it'll be 3rd down and 4 for the Olympians. Now a very interesting yardage situation, Stephen. Not really a definitive answer on whether you should run or pass.
Yeah, I think if you're Gateway, you're going to pass because you haven't had the test of the arm of your quarterback. And that one little screen pass he threw to his receiver, that throw looked a little shaky. I think Gateway is going to run it. If you're the Raiders, this play is huge for you.
Indeed, Stephen. 2:13 on the clock in the first quarter. 3 backs behind Tate Johnson, and Johnson will take it himself. He will not get the first down. The Raider defense, Stephen, has done an incredible job not being fooled by the ball carrier and really sticking to their assignments.
And, Jake, that is my man out there who's made the last 2 tackles, Eddie Gonzalez. You know I love him. He's my favorite defensive lineman because of his tenacity and his attacking mindset. He and Antonio Broadus and Michael Gunther need to keep that up and shut down these Olympians.
Robert Kelly for the Olympians will be standing in his own end zone to punt. It's a low snap. Gets a good 1-hop bounce, and it'll be bouncing it around the 40-yard line. Steven, that's an incredibly lucky bounce for the Olympians. Easily could have gone backwards.
That's an incredibly lucky punt, too. If you saw, Jake, that snap actually bounced off of the ground. So, lucky break there for the Olympians, but still not so lucky. This is still fantastic field position for the Raiders.
Net yard punt of about 36 yards for Robert Kelly. And, Stephen, like you said, that snap skipped to him. Really fortunate that he was able to pick it up and then get a fortunate bounce. So here comes Matt Hotelling. 1:21 on the clock in quarter number 1. Receiver on either side of the field. Tight end on the left. Hotelling's going to fake the handoff left. He's scrambling out to his left. He's throwing deep to Robert Orban, who is face guarded by an Olympian. Because he did not touch Robert, that is not pass interference.
Great coverage there by the Olympians. Great route running and connection there by Hotelling and Robert Orban. And Jake, I'm interested to see as this game goes on what happens with Matt Hotelling because he has a psyche and a confidence he has never had before at the start of this game. So it'll be interesting to see if he can avoid mistakes and keep this psyche going throughout the game, keep his confidence up, and keep that big play mentality looking.
That was a pretty catchable pass, I want to say, Steven, that Robert easily could have had.
And Jake, he actually, hold up.
John Schmidt taking it across the left side. That's a pass from Hotelling to Schmidt for a gain of 17 yards. Matt Hotelling really on his mark in the passing game tonight, Steven.
And just going back to that last play really quick, Jake, Robert Orban actually had it in his hands and then just got tackled by 2 Gateway defenders and unfortunately dropped it. But that makes up for it there. And the Raiders, these little screens have been working for them the last 2 weeks, Jake. I say work them again and again and again.
First down and 10 from the Olympian 30-yard line. A.J. Shaw moving to the left now, back to the right. Hotelling's going to fake the handoff now. Throw it to A.J. Shaw, who drops the ball near the sideline.
Robert Orban had a crossing route about 10 yards deeper. He was guarded one-on-one by a safety, Jake. And with Robert Orban's size, I think Hotelling needs to look downfield and take that shot. When you have a tight end on a safety, that's like having a tight end in the NFL on Gronkowski. And that's a matchup. That's a matchup you want to take advantage of every time. I think Coach Nolan actually saw that. He was pointing to Robert Orban after the play. I think they'll take advantage of that later.
Gronkowski on a 5'9" corner, not even fair. And in motion now is A.J. Shaw again. Hotelling's going to fake the handoff. He's going to step up into the pocket, evades two-man, takes it and runs. Very good decision by Matt Hotelling to get 4 yards out of what was intense pressure in the backfield, Steven.
Great decision, Jake. And one thing I noticed there that I liked about Hotelling is he kept that ball up until he knew he had to run. He didn't tuck and look. He ran and tucked, which is he's showing maturity tonight, Jake, which he hasn't showed all season. And I don't know why, but I'm loving the look of him.
We're now at 30 seconds to go in the first quarter. Regis up 8-0. And it's 3rd down and 7 from the 27-yard line. Hotelling scrambling out to the right side. He's going to evade one man. He tries to stay on his feet, but he is not. That will be a sack for the Olympians by Isaac Fuqua. Very unfortunate that Matt just wasn't able to get away from him.
I think the unfortunate thing here for Gateway, though, Jake, is they have to go and defend another play because this is that awkward territory again. Coach Nolan's going to talk it over with his team. During this quarter break, the Raiders don't even have to use a timeout, which is a plus. But looks like they've already taken a timeout, Jake. Did they take one earlier?
Regis took one when they were discussing what to do on 3rd and goal.
That's correct. All right, but I think if you're here, Jake, this is go for it territory. What do you think?
Steven, I agree. I think a punt in this situation would be futile, and a field goal is far too long to make, even with Vince Saban. The question is, what kind of a pass would we trust most on this 4th down and 9?
As much as I hate the route, I think you got to go with that cut back to the sideline, Jake. If you're the receiver, you make sure you get beyond the sticks, and you do that little out and back to the sideline, get beyond the sticks, catch it, and get out of bounds. So it'll be interesting, though, Jake. I think you could go to Robert Orton downfield, but I'm going to stick with my guns. I'm going to go to that pass route you and me loathe, that cut back on the sideline. If you're the receiver, you be conscious and you make sure you get beyond the sticks.
Steven, I'm always in favor of the simple cross, but Regis has had success tonight with the Screaming Falcon. I'm also a fan of screen passes where maybe you get some downfield blocks set up by wide receivers. Trips right. Hotelling will fake the handoff. He's looking out to the center of the field, and he just does not have enough time to get away from the Olympian pressure. That on the sack is Jonah Mitchell. And with that, the Olympians will take over and down. So 2 failed 4th down conversions so far for the Raider offense.
And Jake, if you're Gateway, your defense is giving you momentum. The offense is just killing it. Gateway should have the momentum here after these defensive stands. Even on that 8-point, on that passing play, Gateway defense has played phenomenal tonight. The offense needs to ride their momentum. I don't know why Gateway doesn't have the momentum right now.
Steven, let's hope that the Raider defense can continue their success in stopping this option run. They'll take over on the 36-yard line here in the second quarter. And here's Tate Johnson. Man in motion, he's going to quickly hand it off the outside. That's number 6, Nicholas Adams, who finds a lane with some blocks for a 1st down.
Great play there, Jake. They got their blocks on, and they just held them. Great, fantastic blocking there by Gateway. And that's what I'm saying both teams need to do, is you need to go to the outside. Both teams have solid cores, Jake, where their weak is outside. If Gateway keeps doing that, they should be able to get a touchdown or at least a field goal here.
That run by Nicholas Adams takes the ball out to the 47-yard line where the Olympians will start this 1st down. Man in motion, number 13. Tate Johnson's going to hand it off to his inside man, who is wrapped up immediately. That's Miguel Gonzalez, losing 2 yards. Very effective pressure by Michael Gunther, tackling the ball carrier for a loss.
And actually, Jake, only 2 tackles have come tonight from the Regis' linebacking and secondary core. So the line's doing their job. They need to keep it up. But right now, Regis Jesuit line gets an A+.
Definitely, Steven. The defense has played admirably. Handoff to the right side. He's tripped up. That's number 11, Miguel Gonzalez, who, Steven, that's the second time that Gateway has tripped in the backfield, and that sets up an obvious passing situation for the Olympians, which is something that they're really not comfortable doing.
And Jake, I don't know if you saw that, J.J. Kilgore took on 3 blockers and kept Johnson in front of him and almost made him trip up because he ran into his blockers. Great job, JJ. I mean, if you can take on 3 blockers and still make a half tackle.
J.J. Kilgore is an athlete, Steven. There will be 2 backs, and it's a fake pass. Quick pass up the middle. It is dropped from Tate Johnson to number 20, Darius Harvey, Steven. I don't want to alarm you, but Harvey was wide open, and he pretty much just ran a fly down the field.
He bobbled that a couple of times, Jake. If he would have had the catch, he probably would have had the first down. But that's the rough thing. Raiders were running zone there, and Harvey found his way into the middle of 4 zones. So that's the danger with the zone. I am preferential to man coverage, Jake, but I know you can't always run that because teams can burn you. So.
And Kelly will be back to punt for the Olympians, standing on his own 29-yard line. Back to return for the Raiders is Alex Mitchell. Low snap, but it gets to him, and Kelly shanks this punt. Bounces at the 35-yard line of the Raiders. That will only be a 20-yard punt for Gateway.
Jake, you can't have stuff like that if you're Gateway. Your offense is not moving, and your defense has held the Raiders admirably, but it's taken them 4 downs to do it every time. So I really think that if you're Gateway, you need to get your punting game going. You need to get your special teams rocking because you're going to need it all night.
Steven, the Raiders will start this offensive drive on their own 37-yard line. Hotelling misses the snap. There's a race for the football, and ooh, wow. It was recovered by the Raiders. That's Trevor Williams jumping on it, but that snap just went through the wickets of Matt Hotelling.
It did, Jake, and very scary there. I imagine that now the Raiders are in definite passing territory. So we'll see here. Matt Hotelling's been pressured, hasn't been able to throw the last couple of times.
Ball back at the 28-yard line.
That was a loss of 9 yards, Steven. The first mistake the Raiders have really made big on offense. Hotelling's going to throw. Quick pass to Alex Mitchell, and Alex never saw the ball. Matt Hotelling on that threw it, expecting Alex to look up at a certain time, and Alex he looked up, but he wasn't sure where the ball was, and as a result, the pass falls incomplete.
And, Jake, I think if you're the Raiders, you almost just run it here, get positive yards, and trust Sebastian Harris to give you some room because with a 3rd and 19, you almost don't want to try for it. You want to run on a draw play, get 7 yards, and get a good punt down the field. I think if you're the Raiders, now is not the time to get a big, arrogant head and try to do something amazing.
Yes, Steven, every time in the NFL you see teams run in, immediate penetration by the Olympians, but it's a setup screen. And sadly, the linemen weren't able to block the Olympian defenders on the right side. So it'll be a punt situation for Sebastian.
And Jake picking up about 6 yards there. I think that was successful for the Raiders. Dangerous, though, because if he would have been sacked there, that would have been a deep punt. We'll see if Will Dines can get it back successfully to Sebastian. Sebastian, in my mind, one of the best punters in CHSAA's entire realm, Jake, in the state of Colorado.
Sebastian standing on his 18. Pressure by the Olympian. Sebastian gets it off, and he'll get a bounce that's fielded by Gateway on the 30-yard line. He evades the first man, Shane Moody, but he will be tackled. There's a flag on the field. As it stands, the ball is at the 28-yard line. Very impressive punt by Sebastian.
About 40 yards, Jake.
Yeah, that's a 40-yard punt right now. We'll wait to see what the call is. I can't imagine it would be against Regis because I almost never see penalties against the punting team.
And it is against Gateway. So that might make it about a 50-yard punt, Jake.
Very successful field position flop for Regis Jesuit now with 8:58 to go. The Olympians will take over the ball.
There were offsetting penalties, and I've actually never seen that call. We'll see what it is. I've never seen that hand motion in football.
So, Steven, it actually seems to be against the Raiders, maybe a personal foul or something. And it is indeed a personal foul. You hate to see that. I imagine the culprit for the Raiders will be disciplined, but that moves the ball up 15 yards. Well, you just can't make those kind of mental mistakes. I know you're amped up. You've got a lot of passion, but you got to play smart for the team. Gateway taking over on their own 43, 2 backs, and it's going to be a fake handoff kept by Tate Johnson, who makes a good move to get 7 yards out to midfield.
Jake, I'm a little interested right now. The Raiders playing like they have about a 20-point lead, and they're only up 8. So playing with a little big head, I think they need to come back down a little, Jake.
3 receivers for the Olympians. It's going to be a handoff right at the middle. And Torrey Adams, the ball carrier on that, he'll get 3 yards, Stephen, very close to a first down. We might get a measurement here. The tackle on that is Michael Gunther, but Stephen, I agree with you. Regis really needs to keep in mind they're only up by 1 possession, and hopefully the defense can keep Gateway out of the end zone here. It will be 3rd down, so they're inches short. Obvious running situation now. Watch out for a quick inside handoff or a quarterback sneak. 8:05, and it will be a fake handoff. Tate Johnson will take it to the right. He'll get 5 yards, and that'll be enough for a first down.
So, interesting here, Jake. We'll see if the Raiders can stop them. They've calmed down into 4-down territory. Or they've marched into 4-down territory, so Raiders need a big defensive stop here.
A big shout out to our 46 viewers. Thank you guys so much. This is our 2nd highest viewing crowd of the year. The highest was Mullen, but we'll get that up later tonight, I'm sure. And Tate Johnson will keep it again and move around this time to the left side for 5 yards. Stephen, I want to talk for a minute about the option. It's really successful if you have a quarterback that can make great decisions, and oftentimes you see quarterbacks that feel rushed, maybe pitch the ball when they shouldn't, and then it can be really dangerous.
It definitely is, Jake. I think the Raiders are such a great penetration team that they can stop this. So I'm looking for Michael Gunther, Eddie Gonzalez to break inside and stop this option.
2nd and 6 from the 38-yard line. Man in motion. It'll be a fake handoff again. Tate Johnson taking it up the middle. That will be enough for a first down. Reminds me a little bit of Connor Dietz for Air Force there. He's not afraid to get contact. He's picking up a lot of yards up the middle.
He is, Jake, and if you're the Raiders, this can be dangerous territory. I think if you're Gateway, Jake, you almost want to throw it here and try to catch the Raiders off guard.
So that first down moves the ball to the 29-yard line of Regis Jesuit. And man in motion again, going the other way for the Olympians. It's a handoff up the middle to number 39. That's Torrey Adams picking up another first down for Gateway.
They were watching Tate Johnson the entire time. So a shout out to some listeners. We have some listeners from Puerto Penasco in Sonora, Mexico. So shout out to them. Looks like Bradley Large down there watching the game. So great shout out to you. And folks, just comment with where you're from on our page. And if you're from near or far, we'll try to get you a shout out in there because we love our viewers no matter where they're from. So tell your friends, tell your grandparents, tell your dog's babysitter to tune in tonight. It's going to be a good one here.
Steven, this isn't the largest student section we've seen all year, but I can hear them from down here. It's not the smallest for sure. Really great to see the Rowdies, as always, rallying the troops. That is the fans here tonight. And what's kind of a long drive for us, but we're always glad to be here. This is one of the most exciting moments of high school sports, that is the playoffs. And, Steven, we were actually here for our first game of the season against the Rangeview Raiders that Regis Jesuit won, but
indeed, and shout out to the athletic director for Aurora Public Schools. His name slipped me at the time, but I know his name is Tony. Shout out to him. He's been accommodating through soccer and football games. Got us a great spot up here on top tonight, so thank you so much, Tony.
3 receivers now for the Olympians. Ball in the 12-yard line, 1st and 10. It's going to be a fake handoff. Tate Johnson will take it again around the left side. He'll take it inside the 10-yard line. And it is possible, Stephen, for Gateway to make a first down without scoring a touchdown.
Always dangerous, Jake, because when that team gets that 4-play restart, it's almost nearly impossible anytime to keep them out of the end zone from that close. So,
second down and 6, ball on the 7-yard line, and it'll be a handoff up the middle. Corey Adams is in the end zone. That's a Gateway touchdown with 5:55 to go in the second quarter, Steven. Big decision here. If Gateway will go for it, what do you think?
I think they will, Jake. I think you always have the option, if you miss two, to kick a field goal because it is a 2-point margin. I think if you're Gateway, Jake, you have to go for it because you don't want to be playing from behind in a game where you've played evenly.
Another shout out to a viewer from Germany that we just got notification from our producer, Joe Quigley. That's awesome to have such an international representation of an audience. And a whistle will blow before the snap got off. Time out by Gateway.
So, Jake, definitely want to talk this over. With 3 timeouts, I do think this is a timeout-worthy play for Gateway because it does affect the game. But in a large way, I think if you're Coach Nolan here, this is almost a bigger play than stopping the touchdown. Because if you can take a 2-point lead into a game where you clearly have the momentum, I think even after that Gateway score, I can still feel it where the momentum is even or even slightly tilted towards the Raiders. You have a great chance at winning, especially with a second-half closing team with the Raiders. And so we'll see if the Raiders, I think, Jake, you got to bring in your linebackers. You leave your middle linebackers a quarterback spy, but almost a running back spy for anything that comes up the middle. You have your outside linebackers come in and work as spies too. You have a 3-spy set in a contained thing because we know Gateway's not going to throw here. I'm pretty confident in that. They're going to run. So I think you get a push from your line and you have 3 linebacker spies and just do your thing.
Yes, Steven, if I'm the Regis Jesuit defense, I'm selling out on the run here. I highly doubt that Gateway would pass, although it would completely catch me off guard, and he will hand it off up the middle. He's into the end zone, complete for a 2-point conversion, and we are tied. That's Miguel Gonzalez getting into the end zone. So now Regis will try to get the momentum back. We're going to take a quick break so we can get to the kickoff. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Aurora Public Schools District Stadium. Gateway has just tied up the game back to return for the Raiders is Will Dines. The kickoff is low, but it goes deep. Will catches it at the 6-yard line. Will Dines going to take it to the left side. He breaks contain up at the 25, gets hit hard on the sideline. That was number 5, Josh Butler, with the hard hit as Will was close to the sidelines. Not a late hit, though, but Steven, really crucial here that the Raider offense can get a long, sustained drive.
And, Jake, a long, sustained drive would be good. I think you need to look for a go route to Alex Mitchell or Robert Orban and get that shock value. That's what got them kicked off in this game, and now that we know they're capable of it, I love it. So I don't know if a long, sustained drive, but a scoring drive.
Hotelling has 1 receiver to the left. Shaw moving. It's going to be a handoff to Trevor Williams. Trevor finds somewhat of a hole, and he'll go forward for 4 yards, so it'll be 2nd down and 6. Steven, not a ton of time left on the clock, only 5 minutes and 35 seconds. And we know that this Raider offense can be extremely slow at times. So maybe throwing some passes here.
I think from this distance, Jake, this is the perfect amount of time for the Raiders. They're going to run it down right inside a minute. if they do have a scoring drive. So I like the time here. I don't think there's pressure.
Shaw moving again. Hoteling fakes the handoff. He's going to throw. Batted down. Very dangerous, Steve. And that's what happens when you have such a short quarterback like Matt Hoteling. Just these big Gateway D-line men can get their hands up, and Matt Hoteling has almost no chance.
So it'll be interesting here. See what the Raiders do, Jake. I imagine we'll see a throw because Hoteling's been throwing fine, and I like John Schmidt coming out. I think it hit John Schmidt deep. He is so fast.
Schmidt and Mitchell, Steven, I think are really underrated. They've been very solid receivers for the Raiders. 5:15 to go. And it's going to be a run. Fails miserably for the Raiders. He's stopped for a loss of 3 yards. And it'll be 4th down and 8 now.
And shout out to my economics buddy Clark Smith tuning in. So great to see Clark out there supporting. Shout out to you, buddy Clark. And we got 2 more shout out. We got a viewer from Idaho.
That is Shane Moody's sister. Thanks for tuning in. And Sebastian's punt will be fielded by the 43. It was touched, and the Raiders recover the muffed punt. Unbelievable. Almost simultaneous contact between the Gateway receiver, J.J. Kilgore, there at the perfect time. Steven, what an unbelievable shift.
And Jake, it almost looked like the Gateway receiver saw J.J. coming and tried to catch it from the side with his hands. And if you're a punt returner, you have to catch that in your gut.
And another shout out to Peter Bayer, a tremendous baseball player. Peter, we had some fun times this year.
From Richmond, Virginia. And shout out to Jake's dad tuning in. So good to see you tune in, Mr. Leonard. And all you viewers, keep sending in your comments. We love to give shout-outs, and we love to see where you're tuning in from.
So the Raiders, with that extremely fortunate turn of events, will once again keep the drive alive. Ball on the 25, Steven, along with that turnover earlier that set the Raiders up 1st and goal. That's another huge mistake. And Hoteling now is wrapped up. He is just not getting enough time, and that was kind of his blind side. He was not looking at the right. We now have 61 viewers, so our audience just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And we hope to bring you what's going to be an exciting conclusion. With that sack, it's now 2nd down and 18 from the 33-yard line. Hoteling will have Alex Mitchell, the lone receiver, on the left side of the field in an I formation. Shaw in motion. Hoteling will hand it off to Trevor Williams, who gets nothing. Steven, this offense is now just looking completely inept. And really, the offense struggling to get any sort of positive result.
Really unfortunate there, Jake, especially. I think you're in 4-down territory, though, so I think you do throw it twice. I don't think you punt here. I think Coach Nolan needs to take a time out here and discuss things, though.
You know, to be honest, Steven, I think that if Regis doesn't gain any yards here, this is probably a punting situation just because they want to get some good yards, and it's going to be a screen pass to Elliot DeJour, who catches the ball and falls down. Sorry, Elliot, you cannot run once your knee has touched the ground in high school football, same as college. Matt Hoteling really underthrew his man here. Steven, I just have to say that was a pretty pathetic offensive possession. Regis actually losing yards on every consecutive play was for negative yards, so Sebastian will be able to punt now.
And they started in field goal range, Jake. That's the most disappointing part. Now they have to punt.
So Sebastian standing on the 50-yard line. His punt is almost blocked. Very low line drive. Corner coffin. Goes out of bounds. Not exactly what he wanted. We'll see where the ball is spotted. It was kicked out of bounds. That'll be a favorable spot, Steven. I actually don't think it was that close to the end zone because it should be marked where the ball crosses the sideline. But Gateway will take the ball on their own 15-yard line.
Indeed, and we'll see if the Raider defense can come up big. Gateway, with their running, I don't think we've really seen a consecutive pass pattern or solid passing from Gateway. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with 2:45 on the clock.
Gateway will have 3 receivers and 2 running backs behind Tate Johnson. They're going to do an option run. Tate Johnson across the 20. Jukes gets across the 25-yard line for an Olympian first down. 2:39 to go.
So, be really interesting here, Jake, to see if the Raiders bring pressure. I think that's what they need to do. They need to make Gateway make some quick thinking here, because on these drives, if you give them an extra couple seconds to think, they'll use that on the clock, and they will make a good decision that could burn you.
And now Gateway will run it once again to the 29. So the thing is, Steven, with these runs, they're burning a lot of a clock, and they're going to have to hurry it up if they intend to get any points off of this drive. Now 2:10 remaining.
And a quick shout-out to Braden Albrecht Reed out there. He always teases us that he's not going to tune in, but he's finally tuning in. So great there. But really surprising. Oh, pass here from Gateway. He's going to get that out to number 6 for Gateway.
That is Nicholas Adams. And a shout out now to Andrew Schmidt tuning into the game. Schmidt, I know I caught probably wasn't one of your more memorable moments that you'd like to reflect on, but great to have you tuning in for the game tonight.
So
Mr. Stover, Colin's dad. Colin's a great cameraman, and it's an honor to have him, especially in our Model United Nations Club. And Gateway will once again throw it down the field. Steven, I just have to say that was almost a Taylor Martinez-like throwing motion. Completely failed.
And the only thing I'm concerned about for Gateway, Jake, is their transition time. They have taken 17 and 19 seconds between huddle and snap, which actually equals out to 29 and 27 seconds once you consider getting the play all set. So really concerning time management for Gateway. One of the few teams I actually think that has worse time management than the Raiders.
And another shout out to Jacob Santos. Thanks for tuning into the game. For everyone, we're now up to 67 viewers. Gateway has 4 wide receivers, and Tate Johnson will scramble out to the right. He's going to throw it pretty deep down the field. Intended receiver is number 18, Anthony Holmes. And now it'll be third down, Steven. I must say Tate Johnson does not have the most developed throwing motion. Kind of reminds me of Taylor Martinez a little bit.
And Jake, I think if you're the Raiders here and you stop him, you call a timeout and you try to get some points, because you do still have a minute 30, and you know Gateway's punting situation is not great. With the average punt, you'll be starting on about your own 40. So
it'll be third down and 10 for the Olympians. They're still on their 41-yard line, 1:25 to go in the second quarter. Johnson's going to roll out to the right, way overshoots his man, and it will be fourth down and 10, Steven. The Raiders have 1 timeout left. I'm not sure if it's worth it to try to get a drive sustained because of how slow our offense is.
I think, Jake, you let Matt Hotelling bomb 1, and if that is unsuccessful, you call it a day. If you're Coach Nolan, you go into the locker room with a tie, which is favorable for the Raiders. Normally they head in down, but you head into the locker room with a tie, you come out with your strong second half.
Another low snap to Kelly, who gets another low punt off. And this time it will roll inside the 25-yard line for the Raiders. That will be a 33-yard punt. So a decent net punt will set the Raiders up. First and 10 on the 25-yard line.
I really think if you're the Raiders, you take a shot down. You take 1, maybe 2 shots downfield. Then you call it a drive because you don't want to get a turnover here, Jake.
Steven, in this situation, I think Regis would be more than happy going into the locker room tied 8-8. Absolutely right. You don't want to turn the ball over here, especially deep in your own territory. Hotelling's going to do a screen pass to the right side to Trevor Williams, and some Gateway defenders were tagging him on that. As a result, he only gets 2 yards on that reception.
Yeah, if you're Coach Nolan, you take 1 shot downfield here, Jake, then you call it a half, I think. You look for Alex Mitchell. Actually, doesn't look like they have a corner. It almost looks like they have a safety on the top side. Maybe go there.
We're now under a minute to go, 40 seconds on the clock. Hotelling's going to just hand it off up the middle. So it seems that this drive will be more of a concession by the Raiders, just hoping to go into halftime. Hotelling is looking to the sideline for signals. Stephen, I don't think this is a bad decision.
I think they're just waiting for the clock to run down. They're going to run one more play with Trevor Williams, but I think it's a fine decision. Coach Nolan plays like this, and he's just keeping it comfortable. And you got to mix comfortability and momentum, Jake, and I think he's done a great job of that tonight.
So it is 3rd and 6, and we have a timeout by the Raiders with 4 seconds left. That's interesting, Stephen. I almost wonder now if Coach Mark Nolan wants to maybe just try a passing play at the end of the half, maybe just to get a rep for Matt Hotelling.
And I think you might want to try passing play here, Jake, because if it is intercepted, all you need to do is tackle him before that goal line because there will be no more time for another play. So, interesting thinking. I like it. I wasn't expecting it, but I like it, especially if he takes a shot downfield here.
Yes, Stephen, very unorthodox. I don't see a lot of teams do this at all, but I see its merit because anytime Matt can get an extra rep, that's a smart decision. And Gateway, in a complete prevent defense, they've got 4 guys that are just sitting 30 yards back, and it'll be a handoff to Trevor Williams, who will get big yardage. That's a 24-yard run. I don't understand that, but who knows?
I don't know, Jake. Maybe if they could get some blocks downfield from their receivers and maybe break something. But not a bad call at all. It'll be interesting to see. Jake, what are your thoughts on the first half?
Stephen, I think Regis played absolutely phenomenal for the first, maybe third of the first half, but really the second quarter was completely dominated by Gateway. They really came out strong on offense, and their defense smothered the Raider offense. Even when Regis got a gift turnover, they got negative yards on each of the 3 plays before punting, so I'm disappointed with the way the Raider offense performed in the second quarter.
I definitely am not as pleased as I'd like to be, Jake. But overall, pleased with the Raider play. I think they have the momentum going into the second half. We'll see if they can bring that back.
So our score at halftime is 8-8. We'll pick back up in about 15 minutes for this conclusion of this CHSAA 5A playoff game between the Gateway Olympians and your Regis Jesuit Raiders. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for the beginning of our second half of play here at Aurora Public Schools District Stadium. After one half of play, Regis Jesuit is tied 8-8 with the Gateway Olympian Stephen. A very excitement-packed first half, and now we look for the Raiders to improve.
Definitely, Jake, and I do think they have the momentum going into this. So we'll see here what the Raiders can do in the second half. It'll be interesting, Jake, with Gateway receiving. If the Regis Jesuit defense can start them off with the momentum they need to take them to a victory here tonight. After watching the first half, I give the upper hand to the Raiders to win tonight.
And the Raiders will kick off to begin the second half. Vince Saban to kick off from the 40-yard line. A low line drive kick, spinning, and almost a fake reception. And that's number 11 for Gateway, Miguel Gonzalez, taking it out across the 20-yard line. Gonzalez really showing some speed, although he was running not down the field, but across the field.
Yeah, Jake, and you know that's a big thing for me is running up and down, not side to side, because you don't get any first downs running side to side. So we'll see here which team can get the upper hand, either the Gateway offense or Regis Jesuit defense in this next half of football.
So the Olympians will start this drive on their 20-yard line, and it'll be a handoff on the right side. That's number 11, Miguel Gonzalez, once more. Eddie Gonzalez on the tackle, gain of 4 for the Olympians.
Jake, I don't think if you're the Raiders you have to be concerned about plays like that. He got a little extra yards on a second effort, but if you can contain those second efforts, you can shut them down. So if you're the Raiders, don't be concerned about that play at all.
The Olympians will now line in a formation with 3 wide receivers, 2 backs, 1 on either side of Tate Johnson, and now it's going to be a quick handoff to the inside man. He will get maybe 3 more yards to set up a third down and 4. So this is a big play, Stephen, where really Gateway has a lot of options of either running or possibly passing.
You need to make the right run here, Jake, though, because a 3 and out to start a second half is just unacceptable. That's basically like giving the other team 2 kickoffs.
And it'll be an inside handoff. Pulled back. Tate Johnson will not pick up the first down, so the Raider offense does a good job. And I can't... The Raider defense does a great job holding the Olympians offense, and I almost don't believe this. It looks like they're thinking of going for it this deep in their own territory.
Jake, I think at this point in the game, with it tied at this point, this is a terrible idea.
Very interesting, Stephen. Let's see if they just try to draw the Raiders off sides. No, they'll go for it, and it'll be a run by Johnson. Very close. He looks to fumble the football, and it's picked up. It's picked up by number 5 for the Raiders, and Joe Bozeman takes it into the end zone for a touchdown.
Jake, I had an eagle eye on that. That fumble, I don't mean to take anything away from the Raiders. That fumble was caused by the ground, and he flicked it up right into Joe Bozeman's lap. That should not have been a touchdown. That should have been a stop and Raiders offense take over. I don't mean to take any credit away from the Raiders defense, but that fumble was caused by the ground. I had eagle eyes on it. So, but lucky breaks in high school, no replay.
Well, yeah, sadly, Stephen, there is no instant replay in high school football, so the call will stand. Regis Jesuit now up 14-8. An unbelievable turn of events. A fumble by the quarterback, Tate Johnson, on 4th down and 1, picked up by Joe Bozeman, run back untouched to the house, and on this point after attempt, there are flags and a whistle. But, Stephen, make that now 3 incredible lucky plays that the Raiders have got. The first one being the fumble that set them up with a 1st and goal, the second being the muffed punt, and the third being this fumble.
Exactly. Raiders, false start there, are going to move them back for a... Vince Saban shouldn't have any trouble, though, but you got to be concerned, Jake. He's got to make this to make it a 7-point game.
The 5-yard penalty will move this kick to the 15-yard line, meaning it'll be a 25-yard extra point attempt. And Gateway looks to be offsides. Interesting that they blew a whistle on that because I didn't see any Raiders move.
I think that's... It's encroachment on the defense, Jake. So it'll go back to the original spot for the PAT. We'll see if we can finally get it off on its third try.
Steven, I just have to say, I think on about 75% of point after attempts this year, we've had penalties. Just thinking it's very common. And here's Vince to attempt the point after attempt. The hold is good. Vince's kick splits the uprights, and with 10:03 to go in the third quarter, Regis Jesuit is now up 15-8.
And Jake, with that, you were mentioning how we have 75% of PATs with penalties. That shows you how crucial they are. Because if you can get 1 point or 2 point swing here, that can cause the entire outcome of the game and the play calling and the entire game to be completely different. So those plays, although they seem routine in college and the NFL, are really crucial.
Right, you are, Steven, especially these point after attempts are so crucial for late game management in terms of if you will kick a field goal or possibly go for a 2-point conversion late in the game when you have all these weird point differentials like 2 points, 9 points, 11 points. That's when the 2-point conversion comes in play.
And a quick shout out before we get started to Mrs. Leonard tuning in.
That's enough for my family, guys. Sorry. Vince's kick will be fielded at the 1-yard line. It's dropped. It's dropped. Ball on the ground. It will be recovered by Gateway on their own 10-yard line, but Gateway has just completely gotten an F on special teams so far.
Especially kickoff returns. I mean, you saw that fake little return. If you would have touched that, that would have made a third on the kickoff before this to start the half. That would have made a third muff. I'm really concerned with Gateway's special teams returning. You need to get some of those new NFL gloves and just have him get those stuck on those catches.
Yeah, I'd like to give Vince Saban credit for making great kicks, but really his kicks have been pretty routine. Gateway's had plenty of time to get under it. Same with the punt that was muffed by Sebastian. The Olympians lining up, and it'll be a handoff on the right side. Shakes a tackle. That's Miguel Gonzalez taking it out to the 17-yard line. So it will be 2nd down and 4. There's an injured Raider on the field, Steven. I'm not sure who that is.
And Jake, what I'm not liking about what I've seen from the Raiders on that play is the way they are tackling. They are going for head and shoulder tackles, and you need to get low. You need to learn from Daniel Talley, who's actually made 3 perfect fundamental tackles today. Get low, get at their knees, take them down. You can't be tackling high, Jake. That's what gives up the big plays, just like that 6-yard run.
And Steven, the injured player, looks to be number 53 for the Raiders. Eddie Gonzalez, your man. Now on this 2nd down play, the Raiders penetrate the backfield. Miguel Gonzalez will lose a yard, so it'll be 3rd down and 5, it looks like, Steven.
16-yard line.
And another interesting territory. I think if you're Gateway, you have to throw it because you aren't going to go for it again after losing that fumble for a touchdown last time.
And real quick, Steven, that defensive touchdown makes it 3 defensive scores in the last 2 games for Regis Jesuit. The defense really done as good of a job as the offense has of scoring points. Now it's going to be a handoff on the right side to number 9, and that play is blown up by the Raiders. Nick Adams met by 5 Raiders in the backfield. Loss of 5. And Regis really with an opportunity with a great return from Alex to set the Raiders offense up with prime field position.
And quick, one of our final shout-outs of the day to Bruce Neerheim out there, one of our constant viewers. Bruce has tuned into every football game this year, so great shout-out to him, Bruce. We love having you as a listener. So it'll be interesting to see if the Gateway punter can do anything with this punt because he's been terrible today.
Yes, Steven, there's going to be... This is a big play right now. Special teams really been the Achilles heel of the Olympians so far. 8:02 to go. And this time, the best snap so far. And Kelly's punt is very high, has hang time. Alex fields it, fair caught at the 34-yard line. So, Steven, really big now. I say that the offense can score some points with this wonderful field position on this drive.
Especially, and Jake, that is best punt of the day. What it looked to be was only a 22-yard net punt. So, really, I never thought I would see the day when special teams would win or lose the game for somebody until today, because that's what has happened to the Gateway Olympians here today. Special teams has lost them this game.
Well, it's not over yet, Steven, but it's been a factor.
To this point.
There's a pitch to Trevor Williams on the right side, and Williams will get about 4 or 5 yards to set up a second down and medium. But, Steven, I think Matt Hotelling, he's got to have some confidence still from that beautiful first touchdown pass.
And definitely, Trevor, I like the outside run there, Jake. I was preaching that all first half, and I really think that that's a fantastic run by the Raiders. They need to keep doing it.
Some space on the left side, and Trevor will get the handoff up the middle, very close to a first down across the 25-yard line. And he looks to have a Raider first down. So a nice run by Trevor Williams to once again move the chains, and indeed it is a first down. The first and 10 for the Raiders from the 24.
And Jake, this is good. Once the Raiders get motion rolling, they're kind of like a giant snowball. You got to get them going, and it's hard to get that going, but once you get them going, it's hard to stop.
First and 10. Alex Mitchell on the left side. Shaw moving. Handoff to Trevor. Trevor this time will not find any daylight, back to the original line of scrimmage for a 2nd and 10.
Little or no gain on the play.
And really, Jake, I think if you're the Raiders, you're fine. So we'll see here what happens
Making the tackle for Gateway.
with the Raiders. But, injured Gateway player.
Jonah Mitchell also on
Jake,
the tackle.
would you consider a pass if you're the Raiders here? You haven't thrown it in a long time.
Injury timeout on the field.
You know, Steven, I would say about the Raiders have had maybe 3 or 4 sacks already tonight, and I don't know if you want to go backwards and risk being knocked out of field goal position. As it is, it would be a long field goal, but I think that if the Raiders can maybe pick up 7 or 8 yards on these next 2 plays, that would set up a good field goal opportunity, which would make this a 2-possession game. We'll see, though. The Raiders are lining up with 2 receivers to the left and 1 to the right. Gateway in a 3-4. Cornerbacks are playing off. It's going to be a fake handoff to Schmidt. Hotelling looking left over the middle to Alex Mitchell, and just past his outstretched hands. He had a man there, and Alex is a little slow to get up in the end zone.
And that's the play I was talking about, Jake. That's a combined of your favorite, just a nice crossing route. I thought a surprise pass would be there. Perfectly called play, great execution. Unfortunately, something just didn't click, and they weren't able to get it. But if you're the Raiders, do you run it and look for a field goal here? You got a great leg with Vince Saban or Harrison Thrasher.
Ooh, Steven, I could go either way right now. Really, this opens up a lot of opportunities because Matt Hotelling should have some confidence from his good passes earlier in the game. I say you throw it here, and they're going to line up with twins on the left side. The Gateway cornerbacks are playing off the receivers. Hotelling's going to fake the handoff. He's going to throw a screen across the middle of the field. Brilliant setup. That's number 14, but there's a flag on the play. Cody Lippert has enough for a first down, but there's a flag on the play.
If this comes back for holding, that's going to be a real shame because they didn't even need to hold there, Jake, for the first down.
I just have to say, though, that's a brilliant play call because Cody had so much space in front of him, really. Did a great job clearing out the Olympian secondary and linebackers.
So we will see here what Gateway wants to do. I believe it is a holding call. No flag.
No penalty on the play.
Wow, Steven, the Raiders really dodged a bullet there. I'm not really sure if a referee thought he saw holding and another referee overruled him, but we'll take it. 1st and goal for the Raiders. That pass on 3rd down stands. Hotelling to Lippert for more than enough.
So from the 6 here, Jake, I think even though you didn't have success down on the other end of the field in the first quarter, I think you still run it 4 times.
John Schmidt in motion now. It's going to be a handoff to Schmidt. And, Steven, that play has not worked tonight. John's been gobbled up in the backfield both the times we tried to run that play.
Indeed. And we'll see here what the Raiders do. I think a pass might be in order here, Jake.
2nd down and 11.
Loss of 4 yards.
Excuse me, 2nd down and goal from the 11, Steven. I would
2nd and goal.
be up here for maybe a Matt Hotelling rollout with the option to run because Gateway has no men on the left side of the field. Alex Mitchell, the lone receiver on the left side. A.J. Shaw moving. Hotelling, he's going to fake the handoff. He's looking out to the left under intense pressure, and he manages to get away from 2 Gateway defenders before being stopped at the 10-yard line, Steven. 3rd down and goal from the 11 now.
I think you run it to the center of the field and let Vince Saban do his thing. Get a 2-possession game here that'll put you up by 10. And at the pace this game, both teams play, that will be a strain for Gateway to get back from. You center it up, you let Vince Saban take a kick, you maybe run it up the middle, see if you can get something, but definitely you need to center the ball on this play.
3rd down and goal. Hotelling, faking the handoff. He's looking to the end zone. He's stepping up. He's going to run it. He's going to run it to the left side, and he completely drops the ball. Hotelling drops the ball. The ball's still lying around. It looks like it was recovered by a Raider. We're going to wait for the official ruling.
It looked like Gateview picked that up and then fumbled again. If they rule that, Gateway, excuse me, if Gateway picked that up, that's a redo in downs for the Raiders. Consider a change of possession.
So it will be Regis Jesuit football. And, Steven, you're exactly right. That should be – well, wait a minute. Now they're going to rule that it's 4th down, which I believe it should be a new set of downs because it was actually recovered entirely by Gateway before being refumbled to the Raiders. The officials will have a meeting about this again. And, Steven, really incredible Matt Hotelling trying to do too much. I thought for a second he had a lane to the end zone, but he did not get it. Then it was picked up by a Gateway defender who had possession of it, and that's the crucial thing.
And, Jake, excuse me, they're bringing over the sideline official that had the same view we do at that play, so I think this should go. No, it is 4th down. Interesting.
So, Steven, the only thing I can think of with that is they ruled that the Gateway defender never had complete possession of the football, which personally I disagree with. So it'll be 4th down and goal. I have to imagine the Raiders will kick a field goal here.
And, Jake, that's why if you're Gateway, you don't try to scoop and score. You fall on it, and you grab it. Why are they going for it, Jake?
Ooh, of all the calls I've seen this year, I completely disagree with this one perhaps more than I ever have. 4th down and goal to go from the 20, and the pass is deflected. What is that? All you have to do is kick perhaps a 37-yard field goal. Maybe it's not the most likely, but I assure you, you're more likely to make a 37-yard field goal with Vince Saban than you are convert 4th down and goal from the 20.
In practice, Vince Saban has made a 56-yarder, Jake, and I know it says nothing for regulation, but still, it shows that he has the distance. So, I hate that call there, and that's what I was saying. You needed to run up the middle so you had a manageable, very nice centered field goal, Jake. Really poor mistaken ball handling by the Raiders, and again, they've squandered a great possession.
What an awful play call for the Raiders. Just kind of unbelievable. That seems like such a no-brainer to kick a field goal there. Tate Johnson now with the ball, scrambling out of a few tackles. He will manage to get 2 yards out to the 22, but Steven, what was that? Like, I'm just absolutely incredulous right now. I don't understand how there was even a question of whether to kick or not.
I am absolutely chiffed to bits, Jake. I feel that so much better play calls could have been made there. And I really haven't been questioning Coach Nolan's play calls tonight, but this is making me call those old questions back, Jake, that we've been questioning him all season.
1 receiver on each side. 2 backs. Johnson's getting handed off up the middle to number 11, and that is Gonzalez having a big gain out into Regis Jesuit territory down to the Raider 31-yard line. That's a 50-yard run. And, Steven, I just have to say on that, Miguel Gonzalez really showing the flat-out speed of this Gateway offense.
And that's the key, Jake. He hasn't been able to get outside today, so he hasn't been running well. But once he gets outside, he is gone.
Same formation And it will once again be a handoff to Gonzalez. This time he'll get 4 yards to set up a 2nd down and 6. But, Steven, that completely mismanaged 1st and goal situation really has shifted momentum back to the Gateway sideline.
And it really has, Jake. I don't think all of the momentum's there, but after that run and that stop, the momentum is definitely leaning towards Gateway a little. So, really disappointing for the Raiders, who looked like they had control.
2:25 to go in the 3rd quarter. It's going to be a handoff up the middle, and the Gateway ball carrier will get maybe a yard or 2. So, looks like it's going to be 3rd down and 4.
Now,
Lamont
Jake.
Lynch.
Sorry, Jake. Interesting thought there. Tate Johnson backed up after that handoff, giving the Raiders a clear view of who had the ball. I think if he keeps running, he can make this offense so much more effective.
Under 2 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. 3rd down and 4. Tate Johnson going to hand it up the middle. That's enough for a Gateway 1st down. Steven, Gateway really having a ton of success running the ball on the left side.
They really have, Jake. I don't know if the Raiders are a little weak there. Eddie Gonzalez still out of the game, so Raiders a little weaker on the line, and Gateway exploiting it.
And they're going to run to the left again. And another big chunk gain, this time by Lamont Lynch inside the 10-yard line for the Raiders. It's going to be 2nd down and 4. But the Raider defense really needs to buckle up here.
They do, but this is where they shine, Jake. They shine inside the red zone. They're a tough team. I don't know if lacking Eddie, that might hurt them in the red zone, but they are a great red zone defense, Jake.
1:12 to go in the 3rd quarter. It's going to be a handoff to the left side again. No, it's kept by Tate Johnson. Really beautiful fake there. And, oh, excuse me, that was Miguel Gonzalez who was in at quarterback, faking the handoff, walking in untouched. That offense almost reminds me of the Nebraska or Michigan offense with that quarterback read. And that time the Regis defense gets strong, and Miguel Gonzalez walked untouched into the end zone.
Great play calling there on that drive by Gateway, exploiting some holes that Regis has. Regis needs to patch those up before the next time.
Gateway is going to go for the lead here. It's going to be a handoff on the left side. Very close, and he will not get it. A crucial play in this game. Gateway going for the lead with the 2-point conversion. They do not convert. Stopped by Quinn Vandekoppel. And Regis is up 15-14 with 1:05 to go in the 3rd quarter.
I am really questioning both coaches' play calling tonight, Jake. I think there you have to take the tie because now Regis is content to run more clock because they are up. Regis would have to go down and score, and they wouldn't be content to run as much clock, giving your time-consuming offense more time. So really questionable call by Gateway there. I know they thought they could get it, but I just don't think that's the right call. Then again, we haven't seen Gateway's kicker kick a field goal.
No, that's a good point, Steven, because we've seen his kickoffs, and they've looked pretty poor, at least not a lot of height. And on extra points, you really need a lot of height.
Miguel Morales will kick off for Gateway.
The kick is from the 40-yard line. We'll see how the Raiders can do. They'll have 1:04 to go in the 3rd quarter. It's a low line drive fielded at the 5 by Will Dines. Shane Moody, and Shane will cut it across to the right. Tries to run side to side on the field. He will not get past Jesse Kranzler on that tackle.
So we'll see here what the Raider offense can do, Jake. Really crucial. They do get a long, sustained drive this time. I don't think you need a wow factor this drive. I think you need to show Gateway you can overpower them with your run game and your short pass game.
And as it stands now, Steven, the Raiders do have a 1-point lead, which, if anything, lets them maybe be a little conservative with their play calling, trying to get some long drives. We know this Raider offense can burn a ton of clock, yet they will line up with 4 wide receivers. Schmidt in motion. It's going to be a handoff to Schmidt around the right side. And for the first time today, Schmidt gets 4 yards, but there's a holding call on the Raiders. And, Steven, I don't know if you heard that, but all the coaches on the Gateway sideline were screaming for a holding call. And right after they did that, the referee threw the flag, so maybe a little influenced by the bench, but I do believe it was holding. So unfortunate that 4-yard gain.
I really hate to see that, Jake. Refs throwing late flags. I think if you're going to throw a flag that you see, you need to throw it during the play. So I really think almost that all coaches should coach maybe from a box where the refs can't hear them or something, because I think there's a lot of coach influence on the game today at all levels, and I'm not a fan of it.
Yes, Steven, when you're a referee, I believe they did some study that as much as the NFL and even professional leagues try to dilute the effect, refs are much more likely to side with the home crowd on very questionable or calls that could go both ways. First down and 23 for the Raiders now. 30 seconds left in the third quarter. 4 wide receivers for Hotelling. John Schmidt again in motion, and it's going to be a fake handoff to Schmidt. He's going to throw it over the field. Very dangerous pass, Steven, and I'm not a fan of those no-look passes as if it's a one-timer in hockey. That pass was very close to being picked off by Miguel Gonzalez, who plays both sides of the field.
Indeed, Jake. I'm really not a fan of those trust passes. I know we had that Alex Mitchell touchdown, but I hate robot quarterbacks. And now you put yourself in a very dangerous situation, 2nd and 23, where you have to throw again, obviously. You can't run, so.
The ball is on the Regis Jesuit 9-yard line. And this time, there are 2 backs behind Hotelling in an I formation. He's going to hand it off up the middle to Trevor Williams, who tries to break some tackles. He'll get maybe 6 yards on that carry, but it will be 4th down and very long. So that'll take us to the end of the third quarter. And going into the fourth quarter, Steven, Regis Jesuit is up by 1 point.
And we'll see here, Raiders can't really stay deep in their zone here. They almost need a first down here. Excelsior going to give a moving, momentous Gateway the ball. So got to be careful here if you're the Raiders on this first play of fourth quarter.
We're going to take a quick break here and pick back up for the start of the fourth quarter.
The 16-yard line.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the start of our final quarter of play here from Aurora Public Schools District Stadium. Hotelling is going to do a quick no-look pass out to the right. Very close to being intercepted, Steven. Oh, that's a really awful play.
I really think it is. Regis likes to restrict themselves on the sideline. I think you need to look over the middle if you're Regis for more opportunities. So,
that pass was much more likely to be intercepted by the Gateway defensive backs than it was to be caught, and now Sebastian will have to punt. So, Steven, this is very uncomfortable for the Raiders because this sets up Gateway to potentially be an incredibly good field position. The ball is on the 16-yard line, and Sebastian's punt is a very good punt. Miguel Gonzalez will field it going backward, but he gets maybe 8 yards, and Gateway will start this first drive of the fourth quarter from the Regis Jesuit 46, Steven.
Allen
35-yard punt there by Sebastian after the return, which is great for after a return like that. So see if the Raiders can hold Gateway. Once Gateway gets moving, they're moving, Jake. So the key for the Raiders on this drive is to stop them early.
And Stephen, the way we've seen the Regis defense step up on the last drive, even though Gateway scored a touchdown, they did slow them down a lot. Really hopeful the defense can do the same here. 4 wide receivers. Tate Johnson scrambling up to the right side. He's going to run it. He's past the line of scrimmage. Stephen, he hesitated, and he still had 8 yards on that carry.
And I think the hesitation almost opened up a path because he held the coverage in check. So a great check there, but Raiders need to hold them here. They know they can't kick, Jake, so this is 4-down territory. You need to get them to back up this play.
2nd and 2 from the 39 for the Olympians. We're at 11:10 to go. And there are 2 wide receivers on the right side for Tate Johnson. Tate Johnson fumbles the football. He fumbles the football, but he manages to land on it. So it is a loss of 2. But, Stephen, we've seen that routinely from both teams, just fumbling really without big hits. Oh, my goodness. Did Regis recover that?
I think they did, Jake. We'll see. No, they didn't. Sorry, I heard the Regis. We both heard the Regis crowd cheer, Jake. But I believe that's Gateway's 4th or 5th fumble today.
Exactly, Stephen. And I apologize to our audience. I thought that the Regis crowd saw that the Raiders recovered, but it will stay in the hands of the Olympians. And Tate Johnson is going to hand it off up the middle. Will not get it. 4th down. Although this is clearly 4-down territory for Gateway.
Indeed it is, Jake. They almost might be far enough to punt, but they're definitely going to go for it here. Big chance for the Raiders to stop them here, swing the momentum back, and take it back with only about 10 minutes to go in the 4th quarter.
I think the Raiders need to load up on the left side, Stephen. That's where Gateway goes when they have to, when they're in big situations. 4th down and 3. Tate Johnson under center. And the Regis defense encroaches. Gateway was trying to get the Raiders to jump off sides, and 2 Raider linemen did. Stephen, you really got to be expecting that the offense is trying to draw you off. Poor job by the Raider line.
And that 1st down is inexcusable, Jake. They had a chance to stop them. Now Gateway has 4 more plays to get 10 yards. And they're even closer to the Raiders' end zone and the jugular for this game. You got to be concerned if you're Regis.
1st and 10 from the 35 now. Tate Johnson, he's going to look to pass. He's looking deep down the right sideline. Almost intercepted. There was contact between both Shane Moody and Anthony Holmes, but Holmes managed to track it down. 1st down, Gateway. The first real pass completion by the Olympians tonight.
I don't want to sound biased, Jake, but I almost thought that was offensive pass interference. Moody was already in there, and there was some severe contact, but play stands, so.
You know, Stephen, I do agree that there was contact, but I think that it wasn't enough to warrant a flag. And now Gateway will run it on 1st and goal inside the 5-yard line. Stephen, this is not looking good for the Raider defense at all.
Definitely is not. Only 4 yards to go, and Gateway has 3 plays to get there. So we will see here what Gateway does. I imagine we'll see a couple more runs, probably by Johnson or maybe Gonzalez in a Wildcat-like set.
2nd down and goal from the 4. Tate Johnson under center. Johnson's going to hand it off inside, stuffed by the Raider line for a gain of maybe 1. 3rd down and goal, Stephen. Now, this will be interesting possibly if we get a 4th down, if Gateway elects to kick a field goal or if they're going to go for it.
They won't kick a field goal, Jake. If they didn't kick a field goal last time, they definitely won't kick one this time.
8:25 to go now in the game. This is a big play for the Raider defense because as of now, the Raiders hold a 1-point lead. Tate Johnson under center. Johnson's going to fumble the football. Tate Johnson fumbles the football, and the Raiders recover.
6th fumble of the game for Gateway. And Jake, when you put the ball on the ground that many times, you can't expect to win. Giving it away, huge play recovered there by Alessio Lopez. And if you're Tate Johnson, you got to feel terrible. Oh, stripped by Alessio.
Steven, what a huge mistake there by the Olympians. That almost reminds me of Dane Chris fumbling the quarterback sneak last year against USC, and then USC ran it back. But that's how I feel the magnitude of that possession switch has given the Raiders new life. And really, Steven, I have to be honest, Regis has been getting so lucky tonight.
They really have, Jake. I think there's been luck on both sides, but with only 8 minutes left and the Raiders so far deep in the field, they almost have a chance to run out the clock if they can get some yards going.
Trevor Williams takes the pitch on the right side and gets met in the backfield by 3 Olympian defenders. Really, no luck running the ball outside tonight for Regis.
It's really unfortunate, Jake. I think the Raiders might need to go with screen passes from now on. Those have worked all night. It seems like Gateway has a defense that heavily commits to where it thinks the ball is, so I think a screen is the way to go for the Raiders here.
2nd down and 11, ball on the 7-yard line. Hotelling, he's going to throw a fade down the left side, and it's caught. It's caught by Alex Mitchell. Matt Hotelling's pass complete to Alex Mitchell out to about the 38-yard line, gain of 31 on the pass from Hotelling to Mitchell.
And wow, Jake, what a momentum swing. Now the Raiders with comfortability, they can punt it deep into the Gateway zone if this fails. So really exciting for the Raiders here. They have a chance to close it out with the clock only being at about 7 minutes.
John Schmidt in motion, moving left. It'll be a fake handoff to Schmidt, handoff to Trevor Williams instead. Williams runs forward for 5 good yards. 2nd down and 5. He'll be at the 43-yard line, Steven. And now the clock under 7 minutes to go. A long drive here with a touchdown could be the finishing touch on what's been a crazy game.
It has been absolutely insane, Jake. And both teams playing very disciplined but sloppy football here tonight. If you're either of these teams against Valor Christian, this is not going to work, assuming Valor wins, of course. But you got to clean it up.
I guarantee you they will win. And
bold statement there, Jake. Guarantees are in the sports world during tournament time that's scary. That's scary.
Trevor Williams stopped in the backfield there. You know what, Steven? I did guarantee that Duke would win first round last year in the NCAA tournament. We all know how that turned out. But no, I just don't see Valor Christian losing. They're too good.
But again, the reason we're talking about that, this sloppy football will not work, whoever wins here tonight.
3rd down and 7. 3 wide receivers. Hotelling drops back, throwing over the middle to Alex Mitchell. They finally did a cross, Steven. The play I've been calling for all year finally works for a first down. 20 yards to Alex Mitchell on a first down. Where has that play been before?
West Coast offense, baby. We've both been preaching it all year. And really great play here. Raiders marching it down the field, killing the clock. And Jake, I don't want to think too far ahead, but if the Raiders score a touchdown, do they go for 2 and try to make it 2 possession?
You know, Steven, I say you kick the extra point and you make Gateway have to go for 2 if they score a touchdown, but we'll see. John Schmidt running to the right. It's going to be handoff to Trevor Williams, who is bulldozed by number 3 for the Olympians, Isaac Fuqua. And the clock, Steven, is now at 5:25 to go.
And that's the only reason that those plays like that aren't hurting the Raiders is you just see those seconds ticking off. Raiders taking their time to get their play calls because they know they have a 1-point lead because of that faux pas by Gateway to go for it, and they didn't get it.
Both teams have all 3 timeouts remaining. Trips receivers on the right side. They're going to block. It's a pitch, Trevor Williams, who gets maybe 2 yards. So it'll be 3rd down and 8, Steven. And even though you are worried you want to chew the clock, I still feel that this is a passing situation.
This is definitely a passing situation, Jake. You haven't locked this game up at all yet. It's still up in the air, and you don't want to have to punt here. This could definitely be 4-down territory, but it's really Sebastian's a good enough punter to where I don't think this is.
3rd and 8 from the Olympian 38-yard line. Receiver on each side. Hotelling drifts back, throws a quick fade on the left side to Schmidt, and he just missed Schmidt very close. Hotelling's getting much more accurate on these passes, but Steven, it's now 4th down and 8. I still say that it's better to have Sebastian try to pin the Olympians deep because this is a short field if they don't convert.
And even if he kicks it into the end zone, Jake, that is a 20-yard net punt, and it still brings him back and gives him an 80-yard field. So, and Raiders seeming to agree with us. Nolan finally agreeing with us on the call. So,
Sebastian sitting on the Raider 47. His punt is low to the left side, very well angled, and it will go out of bounds. It looks to be at around the 11-yard line. So a nice job by Sebastian. About only a 30-yard yet punt, Steven, but Sebastian did exactly what he was supposed to.
And exactly, Jake, with an 89-yard field and only 4 minutes and 12 seconds. I know Gateway has 3 timeouts, but with their speed of offense, that's going to be quite a feat. So this game might come down to the wire with Gateway on the other end of the field.
Steven, this is the kind of football game we dream about covering. We haven't had a game this exciting all year. 1st down and 10 from the 12. Gateway lining up in the formation they've done pretty much the entire night with a receiver on each side and 2 halfbacks. It's going to be a run by Johnson. Johnson with a 1st down. Tate Johnson really having success with the quarterback read.
And as long as you get 1st downs, Jake, and you turn over your offense quickly, plays like that are fine. It's a problem when you can't get to the line fast enough that really causes that. Gateway now getting to the line very quickly, and I like it.
Ball now on the 24-yard line for Gateway. Tate Johnson under center. Raiders in a 4-3. It'll be a handoff up the middle, and that play will net the Olympians. Looks to be about 7 yards on the run by Miguel Gonzalez.
And good play calling there from Gateway. I don't think you get away from your game. It's been working the last couple drives. You had an unfortunate fumble. If you're Gateway, you need to make sure you don't fumble again. You hold on to that ball. And it looks like Gateway taking about 27 seconds in between play calls.
3:24 to go in the 4th quarter. Gateway, 2nd down and 5. It's a handoff, and he's met in the backfield. Big loss. I assume the Olympians will call timeout here because this will be a big 3rd down play.
And Jake, actually that last play took exactly 27 seconds from the end of the play to the next snap, and you can't have that, Jake, with these time constraints if you're Gateway. So Gateway now calling a timeout. They let about 9 seconds run off the clock. Really interesting there.
Steven, they really should have called the timeout right away. They let precious time drain off. And interesting about this is this gives the Raider defense some great opportunities to talk over what they want to do, because I don't know if Gateway has a good passing play to go to. They might still be running, Steven.
And indeed, Jake, I think if you're the Raider defense, you look out there and you know this is 2-down territory. I think you fully commit to stopping this play and make them throw it on 4th down.
And Steven, now another big shout out to all of our 85 viewers. Huge viewing audience. And I can't blame them. This game is getting very, very exciting, Steven. 3rd down and 4 from the 27-yard line. Gateway with a receiver on either side, 2 halfbacks behind Tate Johnson. The Raiders in a 4-3. He's going to hand it off up the middle. Keeps his legs churning. Ooh, favorable spot on the far sideline. Looks like this will be very close to the 1st down. Wow, they gave him the 1st down.
That's a very favorable spot. They will give him a 1st down. So we'll see here. Time running off the clock, though, Jake.
2:50 to go, and the clock is running. Ball on the 33-yard line. Raiders in a 4-3. Tate Johnson dropping back. He's looking deep down the left side. He underthrows it, but it's caught. Tate Johnson just severely underthrows Anthony Holmes, but Holmes so tall manages to reach back in front of Dan Talley, or excuse me, I believe that was Shane Moody, and pick the ball for reception.
Little luck on both sides of the ball today, Jake. We'll see here. Time was becoming an issue, but with a play like that, they've eliminated it.
Ball now on the 45-yard line. Again, over the middle. What a catch by Holmes. Steven, Holmes is an incredibly talented receiver. He's just catching the ball now with his fingertips.
Absolutely great. And now if you're the Raiders, you're concerned that Gateway scores and you might not have enough time. So I think the Raider defense needs a huge stop here.
2-10. Ball on the 31. Gateway. Tate Johnson under center. They're going to run it. Inside handoff. Not any yardage, but Gateway still with 2 timeouts to go. They will not call a timeout. Clearly, Steven, I don't think the Raider offense is going to see the ball again. It's all Regis defense versus Gateway offense.
And, Jake, this is actually the matchup that's been more entertaining tonight, so it'll be even more exciting. So we'll see here what Gateway does if they go back to the pass.
2nd down and 9 from the 30. Tate Johnson's going to hand it off up the middle. A big surge. That's Miguel Gonzalez, really a workhorse tonight. Picking up what looks to be around 7 yards. Make that 6 yards. 3rd down and 4.
And, oh, Jake, this is so exciting because this play is absolutely huge in this game. Now up down to a minute left.
1 minute to go in the 4th quarter. 3rd down and 4. He's going to look right. He pitches the ball. The ball's on the ground. The ball's on the ground. And we're not sure who recovers. We're going to wait for the ruling. Gateway recovers, but it'll be 4th down. 52 seconds left. I'm not sure why their student section is so happy. They just lost 6 yards. And it'll be 4th down and 9 now, Steven.
7th fumble for the day, Jake. I think that might be a CHSAA record.
And Steven, we were talking before about the dangers of an option offense. Very prone to fumbles. That pitch was not where it had to be. The intended receiver of that pitch was not ready for that.
And Jake, I can speak to the danger of fumbling in an option offense from my NCAA experience. I run an option and I average about 2 fumbles a game, but 4th and 9, critical play here. This is the game with only 52 seconds on the clock.
And even if they convert, Steven, the time is still not in Gateway's favor. This is a must convert for Gateway, but the defense still has some breathing room, even if they do convert. But a Raider stop here would be the end. 4th down and 9. Everyone in the stadium is on their feet. 52 seconds to go. Ball on the 30, and
they were trying to draw the Raiders off sides, and the Raiders stayed disciplined. Gateway takes their last time out.
Steven, very interesting there because now Gateway is out of timeouts. If they convert this, they're going to be in trouble trying to get plays in fast enough.
I don't think that was a good play call, Jake, trying to draw the Raiders off sides. I know they've done it before, but that wouldn't have even given you a 1st down. So I don't agree with that call. I think you needed a timeout because you don't have a great field goal kicker, or at least we assume you don't. Gateway does not because they don't have faith in him. We've seen the kickoffs. So, I mean, we saw how they moved it from the 11 to the 31 at the start of this drive in 2 minutes. They only have 52 seconds. After this play, that'll be down to about 45 because it's about a 9-yard play, so that'd be about a 7-second play at its quickest. So they could be down around 40 seconds.
Steven, honestly, I can't really envision a more exciting playoff finish than this one tonight. Raiders up 1 point, 52 seconds to go. 4th down and 9 for the Olympians. They're out of timeouts. Ball on the 30-yard line. Everyone is on their feet. The crowd's getting loud. Gateway lines up with a lone receiver, Holmes, on the right side. Tate Johnson, he's going to fake the pass. He's going to look. He doesn't have anywhere to go, and he's going to run it. Tate Johnson gets close to the 1st down, but he doesn't have it. Tate Johnson is short of a 1st down, and the Raiders take over.
And the Regis section going crazy, Jake. And unless there is some massive turn of events in this fumble-rooski of a game, with 43 seconds left, the Raiders will be the first team moving on in these 2012 CHSAA playoffs.
That's right, Steven. This is the only game for the first round played on Thursday. And now the Raiders will get to sit back, possibly attend the Valor game tomorrow to scout the Eagles team that they'll be playing. And now the Raiders in victory formation. Matt Hotelling taking a knee. Let's hope we don't see any Tampa Bay Buccaneers, New York Giants knee shenanigans.
Gateway absolutely devastated. And the Regis defense, I watched them in front of the student section, absolutely stoked. They played a great game tonight, Jake.
The defense answering the call with a touchdown return by Joe Bozeman. That will be the end of it, Stephen. From Aurora Public Schools District Stadium, Regis Jesuit wins 15-14. Such an unbelievable first-round game. The Raiders holding on to a key defensive stop. Steven, who's your pick for player of the game?
I have an offensive and a defensive, Jake. I think offensive for the Regis Jesuit Raiders, I have to give it to Alex Mitchell. He had so many great catches, great kick returns, didn't fumble the ball as he has in past weeks. He showed so much improvement and maturity that he gets my offensive game ball. My defensive game ball goes to the Regis Jesuit linebacking core. They figured out that offense and got great penetration, causing 3 or 4 of those fumbles that weren't kick returns. So all that entire linebacking core gets my game ball. What about you, Jake?
Steven, I'm going to agree with you on Alex Mitchell for offensive player of the game. He racked up almost 90 receiving yards, which is unheard of for this Raiders offense this year. And my overall player of the game is going to go to the Gateway Olympian Miguel Gonzalez. Played an absolutely great game on both sides of the ball, breaking up passes and racking up tons of yards, including a touchdown.
So the Raiders now awaiting the winner of Legacy Valor Christian, Jake. So we can think that's Valor Christian, but you never know because this is the first upset of the playoffs too. The 20 Raiders knocked off the 13.
And ladies and gentlemen,
Olympians.
because of questionable CHSAA bylaws, if Valor wins, it'll be a home game for Regis Jesuit because we had fewer home games than Valor. So next Friday, if Valor wins, Regis will host the Valor Christian Eagles. I'm not sure what happens if we go to Legacy.
I think it's a home game either way, Jake.
But, Steven, I can expect a great atmosphere for next Friday. The last time we played Valor was 2 years ago. And if you remember that, we actually dropped like a 21-17 heartbreaker. Very close, but absolutely unbelievable. On behalf of Colin Stover, our great cameraman, Joe Quigley, a phenomenal producer as always, and Steven Snyder, the best color man in the game, I'm Jake Leonard. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next Friday.